silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blessed out to the turned out. From the pampered to the abused. This door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? Nice to see all of you. I missed you last week. I'm Reverend Tracy, and if you're joining us for the first time, either in the room or online, please know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here with us. We come together every week just to remind ourselves of the greater truths of life, that beyond the day-to-day, there is a magnificence in and around us that we just need to see. So thank you all for coming to improve your eyesight and your heart vision, that we might know the truth for each other and be supported in all that we do. So let's see, who's with me on platform this morning? Our practitioner of the day is Reverend Dractuella. He'll be doing our opening prayer and a short reading to get us started. And we have some fabulous music over here in the corner. We have Jeff, and we welcome back Rick Dale. So with that, let's start by getting centered. I'm going to invite you just to close your eyes and breathe in and take in the sound of the bowl into that heart space. Breathing into that sanctuary where love and peace and joy reside always. For it is here, in this place, that we remember that you and I and Spirit are one.
Our shared consciousness. Our shared consciousness is open and innocent as children, open to new ideas, new ways of seeing, new ways of believing. We open ourselves to the understanding that the old can be made new and the new can be made old, that there is newness in the things of the past, and there's oldness in the things of the future and the present. We know that there is wisdom in everything, and so we embrace this knowing. We open ourselves to this wisdom today. With each page that will be turned, with each new thought and idea, we will embrace that which we know and that which we don't, and that which we anticipate, knowing that there is wisdom in all things, knowing it is there. And so it is. So this reading that I picked out, I just love it. It's from The Power of Kindness, written by Piero Ferrucci. I think that's how you say it. I don't know if any of you have seen this book, but it's a really neat book. And this chapter is on humility, but it talks about some of the things that I prayed about, so I thought I'd share on that. When you know your own limits, you are ready to begin again. A Zen saying tells that in the mind of the beginner exist infinite possibilities. In the mind of the expert, only a few. Much better to be a beginner, even in our field of presumed expertise. To be sure, when we are experts, we make a fine impression. We risk less. We defend ourselves with our reputation, and we feel secure. But we learn little because we think we already know. Instead, as beginners, we're always willing to learn and to ask innocent, even stupid questions, as if there is one, right? A recent study has shown that if you want to be at your best in learning, humility is your tool. The humblest students who think they know the least do more tests and research when given a problem, and prove to be more efficient than those who think they already have the answer It is hardly surprising. A student who overestimates her own knowledge will fail the exam, just as a sportswoman who underestimates her competitors will lose. Being humble means you work harder and prepare yourself better. So humility is linked to learning and to renewing ourselves. We often reach a point in our lives where, rather than remaining open to learning, we want safe and predictable plans. And we prefer the prestige of teacher to the humility of student. So we shut the door to reality. We take everything for granted and give up questioning. Give up admitting that what we know is possibly no longer true, that our cultural equipment is beginning to be obsolete. For love of comfort, we renounce the labor of skepticism and research. In the extreme case, we become zombies. And what a pity when things could be different. One of Goya's etchings, that's an artist, Goya, shows a decrepit old man, and underneath we read the two words, aun aprendo, I am still learning. That is intellectual vitality at its best. That is humility. Yeah. And so we welcome Rick Dale and his beautiful music. Good morning.
Thank you, and God morning, you beautiful people. Yeah. Well, I feel like a beginner, but I'm going to do a song that I wrote almost 30 years ago, and this guy helped me put it down on paper. And so, yeah, well, he was a child prodigy. But it's a love song from God. And I don't know about you, but I love God. And it's a song called Everything I Have Is Yours. And it's heaven when you are clear, but to get there, you have to be here and now. You hold the key to everything, but what will you do when you hear the angels sing, everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine, all the treasures of the world, and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it inside. You pick your life. It's up to you. I give you all. When you give to each other, thou art my child, I am in thee. So why are you empty when your life is full of me? 'Cause everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. All the treasures of the world, and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it inside. but to stay here. You must be aware of who you really are. You are the key that opens the door. So open your mind and find out what life is for. 'Cause everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. All the treasures of the world and all the beauty that you find. All you gotta do is choose. All you really gotta do is decide to accept it. Everything I have is yours, and everything you see is mine. The sun and moon and all the stars, and every single thing that shines in this universe belongs to you. And all you really have to do is decide to accept it. It's up to you, my beloved. All you gotta do is let it in, and accept it. Inside.
Thank you so much. That was fabulous and perfect, just perfect. So this is our last Sunday in July. We've been talking this month all about living free. So I am lighting our candle today for freedom, for the idea that we are always deciding, always choosing, always allowing ourselves to move into that greater yet to be. We're always becoming, and we are free to choose what that looks like for ourselves. And I want to start today with a quote from Ernest Holmes about freedom, reminding us that unless we become the living embodiment of love and light, we shall have no justification in saying that God is love and light. Unless we use the freedom we have without abusing it, we shall have no justification in saying that man is master of his own soul, the creator of his own destiny, and the arbiter of his own fate. But if we can bind ourselves together reverently in love and compassion, in mutual tolerance and understanding, under the cohesive powers of the universal law of good and the beneficence of a divine and universal presence, then shall we be able to use the liberty without license to diffuse unity with uniformity and to lead the world down a pathway of a new enlightenment. When we are the love and light in the world, then the world is better for it, and so are we. So what we're doing today is our fifth Sunday tradition, which is Pick a Page, which is letting Spirit pick what I talk about. Which is always an adventure, one that I take on gladly because we always seem to find such wonderful little nuggets, and we find new truths, and every once in a while you stump me, so do your best. All right, we have 4 books today. We have the Joyous Living Journal, which is a compilation of daily guides, a little paragraph about a topic, a quote, a question to ask yourself. This is a wonderful little workbook if you just want to play with your spiritual deepening a bit. We have A New Design for Living, which is a book by Willis H. Kinnear, a contemporary of Ernest Holmes, and a fabulous, much shorter sentence version of Science of Mind for those of you that have read the text. This one's a little more approachable. We have a book called Emerson and New Thought, which is how Emerson's essays influenced the Science of Mind philosophy. So tying together the two authors, Holmes and Emerson, again, in a very approachable way. That's Dr. Carol Carnes, who's a contemporary science and mind minister, and the standard favorite, everybody loves it, this thing called You. So, 4 books, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I'll have you do is I'll have you call out a number between 1 and 4. That'll give us the book. Then I'll have you call out a page number, and then we'll go for the paragraph. Yes, ma'am. I said 4. Did I not say 4? Oh, you're already calling. Oh, instructions have barely been completed, and we are beginning. All right, so between 3 and 1. 74, but okay, 72. All right, we're going to jump the gun today. I see how you're going to be. All right, here we go. Page 72 and paragraphs 1, 2, or 3. 3. It is certain that you can, I love Holmes. He just knows it, right? It is certain that you cannot believe in abundance while identifying yourself with lack. Forget the lack and think only of abundance. Control your mental reactions so that they automatically become affirmative. This will be an interesting and happy experience, for you'll be working in the laboratory of mind with the great law of being. Abundance belongs to you. Good will come to you if you affirm its presence. And so it is. Yes, we're done. No. Okay, so there's a couple key points in here. The first is that if you walk around complaining all the time, it's going to be really hard to appreciate the good. And you know people that only know how to complain, and needless to say, they have a really hard time having anything good happen in their lives. Even if it does, they don't see it. So what we're called to do is, I think, this last sentence, good will come to you if you affirm its presence. It doesn't mean you get everything you wish for. But when you are in the habit of seeing and appreciating the blessings of your lives, big and small, when you are in the habit of noticing that someone else's good has made them so happy and you are happy for them, rather than being envious or jealous, when you are able to see the world and the people in your world as the blessing that they're here to be, no matter how cranky they are on the outside, then you are on your way to finding and experiencing more good in your own life. Because we truly only see what we're looking for. And this habit of thought, this controlling our mental reactions to be affirmative, it doesn't mean you say it's fine when it doesn't feel fine. But you can say it doesn't feel fine and acknowledge that there is a gift here whether you see it or not. And that you can trust life and you can trust yourself to cope with life in a way that is good, in a way that is loving. And if you really can't see it, then just go back to the basics. God is love and I am that. God is love and I am that. And that gives you a different way of looking at the world. 1, 2, 3, or 4? 2. Up to page, let's see, I usually have it written down. All right, we'll just go in the middle. 56 sounds good. Apparently, don't care how many page numbers there are. We'll just skip that step. All right, I'm not going to ask you for a paragraph because there's a section that starts on this page called Freedom from Domination. Some of them say that with the advent of this unpredictable development, I'm not sure which unpredictable development we were just talking about. We're just going to keep going. One moment, please. Da, 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 da. All right, he's talking about physical healing and the functions of the physical body. Something different had been brought into creation by the mind, the consciousness, behind all creation, a unique expression of itself. Thus, man was freed from many of the instinctive limitations of his physical body. He was aware of himself. He could think. Infinite mind is the only thing that can be ascertained to have thought, consciousness, and intelligence, and now it established for itself in and through man a means of awareness, creativeness, and consciousness of what it had created. What's the point of this paragraph? One moment, please. Hold on. All right, here we go. We now need to learn to free ourselves from the complete domination of the instinctive functioning of the nervous system, aka the lizard brain. Although it serves our physical body well and has brought it to a high degree of perfection, which it now exhibits. So the physical body has always faced a threat in one of two ways, fight or flight. The same instinctive reaction is of value to us, but we need to place a limitation on its action. Man deals largely with ideas in his daily life, and when he encounters one that he does not like, his body is whipped up to engage itself in combat. Oh my, doesn't this sound like modern day public discourse? Even though the body is never able actually to do anything about fighting or fleeing from an idea, the wear and tear that results in it are most disastrous. We need to discover that new thing which resides within us and is ever seeking fuller expression through us. And we shall find that it is the individualization in us of the infinite consciousness that is creative intelligence. We will always react to things. All right, we're wired, hardwired that way. It serves us well when we are running from fire or a perceived danger. The problem is what we perceive as danger often isn't. The way we react is often out of proportion to what's actually happening, especially if it's a discussion rather than a physical threat, but our body truly doesn't know the difference. So it is our freedom from domination of that reaction. So we react. And the healthiest thing we can do is first notice, oh, I'm ready to punch somebody in the face. To pause, probably not a good idea. And then decide how we want to respond. Our freedom is in our choice of response. Our freedom is to recognize what's happening and decide what we want to do. What is the loving thing to do? What is the healthiest thing to do? What is the most giving thing to do? Because when we show up in the world aware and conscious and calm and responsive, we become responsible for creating the world we wish to live in. And isn't that why we're here on a Sunday morning, is to learn another way to do that, a way to live from the inside out, to live from our best self. And trust me, although it has our best interests at heart, the lizard brain is not our best self. We have more than that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I heard a 3. I heard another one over here, but hang in there. I'll come back to you, Jerry. 3 is Emerson. Pick a page. 13 and 26. All right, well, let's look. I'll pick which one I like better. All right, let's see. 13. Oh, this must be Emerson directly. One moment, please. Any sentence that starts with "they cumber themselves" tells you that you're in some other century. Okay, let's see. All right, let's look at 26. That's just kind of in the middle of a big, long thought. Let's try 26. Yeah, it's true. That's our next choice. All right, let's see. I'm just going to open the book at random. In The Science of Mind, I recognize those words. Holmes places self-identity as the origin of our perceptions, beliefs, emotions, and how we react in the world. Find out, he advised, who you really are. We cannot hide who we think we are for long. A person passes for what they are worth in their own eyes. Emerson's most famous quote is in this section of the essay, "Be and not seem." Let us acquiesce. Let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits. Holmes would say our bloated nothingness is our false beliefs, our unwarranted fears, our ego mind, which sees most things as a threat to its existence. Holmes then goes on to say, take your attention away from the outer world on a regular basis. let the thoughts float away. The divine circuits are the forever becoming of God, attempting to come into our life as manifest reality. The law takes us at our word. It cannot give us more or less than our self-identity can accept. It is a principle, not a person. So along the same lines of what we were talking about, we have conscious volition. We are aware of ourselves. The more truly we know ourselves and act authentically, the more likely the spiritual nature that is within all of us has an opportunity to flow out. And what is the bloated nothingness? It's anything that gets in the way of life's flow. So it might be an attitude. It might be a circumstance that you're looking at in a very negative way. It could be, under the heading of false belief, there are many things. I'm not good enough. There's not enough. Everybody's awful. I hate the other political party. Whatever it is, bloated nothingness. Bloated because it's an inflated sense of importance when it really has no standing in reality. Because what is reality? It's our ability to be and not seem. No acting. No acting. Just be honest. You may choose not to express yourself honestly in a situation if you feel that it would be threatening or antagonizing, but you tell yourself the truth and then choose your response. That is where our power is. That is allowing those divine circuits to flow, because what does the divinity within us want always? To love and be loved. And in order to be loved, we are loving. And that makes room for all of the other noise and bloatedness out there in the world, and allows us to choose how we want to respond. All right, where are we? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 1. Pick a date. A date. July 29th. Okay, there we go. Whew. I could worry about you, but I don't. And this one's called, there's a theme here today, this one's called Enough of Not Enough. The knots. N-O-T-S, the knots. Are you tired of struggling? When you've had enough of the knots, not good enough, not worthy enough, not intelligent enough, not good looking enough, not prosperous enough, and the list goes on and on. If that is not enough, there is a collective consciousness that many people live in, which believes there's not enough to go around, not enough time, or not enough resources. These are just a few of the debilitating thoughts that are ready to catch a ride in your thinking and put on the brakes on your good. They will steer you into a life of fearful living from scarcity, while the truth is that you live in an abundant universe where you are the channel for expression. Step beyond the hoax of your limiting story into the soul's vision of what's possible. It is right for you to live in a divinely sustained, expanding expression of good. I like that, a divinely sustained, expanding expression of good. Ease and effectiveness are your natural states of expression, and when you know there is enough to source your journey, then nothing other than your story can keep you from joyous living. The mind, John Milton says, the mind is its own place, and in itself can make heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. So where in your life do you say not enough? Now, it may change from day to day. It may be the same phrase that pops up in certain traumatic situations. It may simply be an overlying umbrella of looking at the disasters in the world and saying, oh dear, which we all do on occasion. But the truth is there's enough of everything, especially everything good. And while it may seem in a certain circumstance that we are restricted, remember, we are always free to choose. We are always free to create. We are always free to think and to respond differently. The easiest way to break up a toxic relationship is not to respond in the same old way. to break the pattern. Step out of your comfort zone. Try something new. I was on vacation in Tucson, and we went to Phoenix. And I don't know if you've been watching the news, but Phoenix is on its 32nd day of temperatures over 110. Trust me, after about 108, it really doesn't matter. It's deadly hot. So we went to a water park so we could cool off consistently, which was lovely. I've never worn long sleeves in 110-degree heat before, but I did in Phoenix, and it was fine because I was in the water, so it didn't really matter. And because I was with my 12-year-old niece, we went down the water slide. Do I look like a water slide person to you? I was. I had to do it twice because I wasn't satisfied with the first ride. I was a big wimp the first time. And I was sat up all the way down until the last turn, which flattened me out, which made me submarine into the pool. So okay, we got to do this one more time. So we did it one more time. She did it about 1,000,000 times. It was a lovely thing. But I could have told myself, not to put on a swimsuit. I could have told myself it's too damn hot to be outside. I could have told myself I'm going to burn like a lobster. This is going to be awful. But sometimes you just got to go for it. Prepare and go for it. It was a blast. We had a great time. And she made me paint my nails lime green. I'm sorry you missed that. All right, 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4. This thing called you. Pick a page. 22. A lovely number. Faith is the most important thing in your life. It's impossible to arrive at the grandeur of its possibility through petty thinking and small ideas. The whole mental scope must be broadened and deepened. The whole expectancy must reach out to more. The whole imagination must lend its feeling to grateful acceptance and joyous recognition. We're back again to this idea that what we see and appreciate builds us up. When we use our imagination, we are energized. When we come up with creative ideas, we've got vitality to spare. When we do something new, again, we find energy that we didn't think we had. And why is that dependent on faith? What is faith but trust in life? Trust in your own creativity. Trust in your ability to think big ideas. As a kid, did you want something grandiose, and did your folks tell you, well, honey, maybe that's too much? Not everybody becomes a professional athlete, right? Or, well, some people do make a lot of money, but if you get a job at the factory, you'll be set for life. Sometimes, in an effort to protect the people we love, we try to limit or sort of circumscribe their grand ideas. And there's that saying that, at least if you shoot for the star, you shoot for the moon and you miss, at least you'll be amongst the stars. What is that? I forget what it is. You know what I mean? Anyway, go for it, because it's better than only setting your sights here, always. And you can believe in the possibility, because the possibility can only present itself if you feel like it might belong to you. Right? Feeling is the fuel. So go ahead. Spend 5 minutes a day over your morning coffee, imagining yourself wherever or whatever you want to be, and enjoy the feeling of that. Do it every day and see what happens. Do it every day and see how much closer you get to having that feeling all the time. That's how we're wired. That's what we're made to do. That's how we expand our lives. All right, 1, 2, 3, or 4? 2? All right, and a page number. 38. Okay, we'll start with 38. We'll see what that looks like, and then we'll decide again if we need to. 38. It It's the chapter called Don't Limit Yourself. Like I said, we're on a theme today, and that's the subheading, Don't Limit Yourself. Obvious illustrations of self-limitation are all about us. Does the man who knows he's always a failure ever become successful? What about the chronic invalid who always seems to revel in having everything in the medical book wrong with him? Does he ever enjoy a healthy, normal life? Or the person who feels sure that everyone is against him? Does he find friendship, happiness, and joy in living? It can be said without much fear of contradiction that people reap what they sow. They experience what they think. Let us take a quick look at ourselves. In what ways are we experiencing what we feared, which the very process of fearful thought has brought to pass? Although it may be a very subtle thing to discover, in some way or other, whether we realize it or not, each thought possesses a creative force, which in its cumulative effect is tremendous. A specific thought, even though entertained only once a day, can, in the overall picture, be a powerful creative factor in any aspect of our experience. For your own information, it might be very enlightening to make a list of some of those things you think about a great deal, which you do not want to have happen to you. Then throw the list away. You do not want anything more to do with it. Its only purpose was to point out that in all probability, you are not thinking as you should. I think what's key in this is that a consistent thought pattern brings about results along those lines. It's not the momentary, I hate my mother, the momentary one that sets up a bad dynamic. It's the consistent belief or the consistent thinking. It's the repetitive ideas and feelings that are created when we are in a loop in our heads. And when we can change those to the positive or the affirmative, when we can affirm that there is a way forward in any situation rather than saying how awful a situation is, we've changed the energy into solution rather than problem. When we can't see it for ourselves, that's when we call our practitioner, that's when we talk to our minister, that's when we call up our friends, that's when we pick up a book and remind ourselves that we are not stuck in a vortex of negative thought. There may be a little tune caught in your head that's not the song you want to sing, but it is possible to replace it with conscious choice. And we have the freedom to choose. No matter how long it's been in there, right? No matter how long you've been telling yourself or someone told you what you can't do or who you're not. All you have to do is start replacing it with the affirmation of progress, with the willingness and openness to change, with the possibility that life is better all the time, even here and now, even in this situation, whatever it is. Spirit is always at work, always. 1 through 4. I heard 3 first. Back to Emerson. Pick a page at your own risk. 89. It's questions to consider. Have you ever had the experience of oneness or the divine presence? Some yes, some no. Anybody want to share one? Okay. We'll trust that your oneness includes all things, since that's oneness. The divine presence. It's moments like the birth of a baby. It's the exchanging wedding vows with someone that you really do want to marry. It's the moment in nature when you realize that you are sitting there at peace. It's many, many things. Many, many things. Okay, let's pick a different page. These are great questions, but not really suitable for what we're doing this morning. Another page number, please. 11. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Accept the place the divine providence has found for you, the society of your contemporaries, the connection of events. The great have always done so and confided themselves childlike to the genius of their age. betraying their perception that the eternal was stirring at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. And we are now as they, and must accept in the highest mind the same transcendent destiny, and not pinched in a corner, not cowards fleeing before a revolution, but redeemers and benefactors, pious aspirants to be noble clay under the almighty effort. Let us advance on chaos and the dark. We can thrive wherever we are when we know where we are and we know who we are. When we are aware of the truth of our own being, then we cannot help but uplift and lighten the surroundings that we find ourselves in. So whatever the society, whatever the culture, whatever the family dynamic, whatever the political scene, whatever the economic culture of the community is, we thrive when we know our spiritual truth, when we have faith in life, when we trust our ability to imagine something greater and get there, and when we are seeing with the eyes of spirit, meaning we see the God in all things. We recognize the blessing of life, and that we ourselves are the gift, that we ourselves are the carrier of the peace, the love, the transcendence, the transformation, no matter where we are. And aren't we blessed to be right here? Yeah. Okay, one more. All right, pick a date. December 1st? December 1st. The summer of winter. Now is the time to set aside your final tithe or gifts for the year. Absolutely. I'll send you a letter and let you know where you are as of the first 6 months, and then feel free to add to that. You have been well nourished by life this whole past year in many different ways. Take time to be grateful for all the good you've received, all the precious life you have lived. Make your declaration of abundance by willingly giving of that abundance. It's like storing seeds over the winter so that you can plant them again in the spring. What's happening in the quiet of winter? The roots are growing deeper into the earth. This quiet and deepening is so necessary for the bursting forth of new life in the spring. Without it, nothing would have the energy needed to create the profusion of joy and color that starts with the first blooms of the season. Take some time to enjoy a quiet season. Let yourself become more grounded. Reach more deeply inside. Feel your energy anchoring you deep into the earth. It is from these depths that your growth springs. This creates the springboard for greater good in the coming year. And I offer you the opportunity to take that pause to get grounded anytime. Yes, it is seasonal. Yes, we do it in consciousness as a community in the wintertime. But you can ground yourself anytime. You can deepen your roots anytime. And know that whatever you are doing today is planting the seeds that will bloom again later. And the good news is if you don't like rutabagas and somebody told you to plant rutabagas, you can rip them up and put in, I don't know, broccoli if you like broccoli. Or there are no chocolate plants, but you get the idea. It's your garden. What I know is that you can find wisdom anywhere. This is what we've been talking about today. There is wisdom everywhere when we have but eyes to see and to appreciate. And what I see when I look out here is just light after light after light after light after light, making the world a better place. Thank you all. Peace and blessings. Namaste. All right, let's take a moment to silently align ourselves with these greater truths that we've been talking about. Closing your eyes and taking that deep breath to truly feel your physical self here in this room. For it is right here, right where we are, that we are able to note, to notice, to appreciate that sense of the presence of Spirit. That as I breathe into this physical body, I am aware of this magnificent system that keeps me alive in this world. I am aware of the breathing of those around me, of the music, of the fan blowing. I am aware that I am present here, that I am alive. And if I am alive, then that means I am the expression of God. I am the outpicturing of spiritual energy in this particular form, as is everyone in this room. That we are all lights of spirit right here, simply shining who we are, being who we are meant to be, sharing space, sharing a spiritual journey, sharing the joy of living together so that when it is not so easy, we can be there for each other. For when we ask Spirit for help, we are really reaching out to each other. My hands, my smile, my work, my words, they connect us one to another, just as yours do to me. And this interconnectedness is something that we can trust, that we can rely on, that we can lean into. For it is a net of love, a tapestry of life that sustains and nourishes and encourages all that we are meant to be. And I am grateful, so grateful for the wholeness of life, for this web of unification of each individual in this grand pattern. For what I know is that what I need comes through someone else, if it is not mine, of my own self. And what I have to offer fills a need for someone else in a way that they cannot do for themselves. And in this way, we are all enriched, enlivened, encouraged. How grateful I am for the gifts of life. Nature, the people, the sun and the moon and the stars, even the heat. For each and every element of life is God in expression, and therefore good. And in this place of gratitude, I release my word into spiritual law. For that I know that in the consciousness that is God, there is wholeness, there is healing, there is a peace that passes understanding. There is an unfiltered, undying, unconditional love, always present. Right here and everywhere. For it is God, all of it. And therefore, it is good. And so it is. We have an affirmation in the bulletin. I invite you to repeat after me. Today and every day, I find wisdom in all of life. I am guided from within to that which serves the highest good for all. And so it is. All right, let's have a little more music. Welcome back, Rick Dale, please.
Well, as Reverend Tracy said, it's your garden. Plant what you want, even if there isn't a chocolate plant. There is a meat packing plant. That's what I'm gonna have some pastrami. Anyway, this is a song by Mama Cass about planting your own thing. It's called "Make Your Own Kind of Music." Nobody can tell ya there's only one song worth singing. They may try and sell ya, 'cause it hangs them up to see someone like you. But you gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. You're gonna be knowing the power of love within you. You know where you're going, just to be yourselves, the only thing to do. But you gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. So if you cannot take my hand, and if you must be going, I will understand. 'Cause you gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. You gotta make your own kind of music, sing your own special song, make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Sing your song, sing your song.
You. It's always a pleasure to have you, Rick. Thank you so much. All right. This is our time of contribution. I've already read you the paragraph that says that what you need to do. What I know is that we all give all the time in all different ways, and we are grateful for all of it, because every giving is also a receiving. Every gift is also a gift of life to this community and to each other and to our greater community. For when we are here, we know who we are, we live our lives by our philosophy, we actually shine that light out into the world. So in order to keep doing that and to keep the physical lights on in the building, you give, we say thank you, and life is good. So for those of you here in the room, there are baskets in the back. For those of you online, there's a donate button on our website. And, you know, let's just all say thank you together. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. All right. So let's say our prosperity affirmation, which you'll find in your bulletin. If you have a gift today, you can put it over your heart or just your intention right here and say with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And that is truly the truth. All right, our flowers today are compliments of Tammy Gant. We say thank you to Tammy for the beautiful arrangement. Remember, you too can sign up for a week. You donate the cost of the flowers. The flowers come to us on Sunday morning, and then you get to take them home with you, and everybody's happy. We love win-win. Just a reminder that our breathing meditation will resume next month. We're still in the last day of July. We'll start again in August. Ingrid will be back, and we'll do that at 12 o'clock after service when she is back. We just started new prayer circles. If you're interested in joining, please talk to Reverend Mary after service. These are small groups that meet on a regular basis to support each other in prayer. Those of you that did our last series can attest to the fact that they are very powerful and that it is one of the best spiritual practices you can do for yourself. And you get to know people a little more closely because it's a small group and you get a chance to talk to each other. So if you're interested, it's not too late to sign up. Please talk to Reverend Mary. We have a party coming up next weekend. It's a luau. How many of you still have your grass skirts from the last luau you attended? Okay, Party City has them. We're dinner and dancing on Saturday, August 5th from 5 to 9. That means there's food. That means there's music. That means there's 50-50 raffles. That means there's all kinds of fun and games. And, of course, a good time. Tickets are $20 a person or $30 for a couple. There's a flyer out in the foyer. You can post around to your friends. Talk to, where's my committee? Tracy, Mickey. Mickey's got an envelope of tickets in her hand. And you want to come, right? How many of you were at the last dinner dance we did? Starry, Starry Night, right? Even if you didn't wear a costume, did you have a good time? Yes, okay. And what I also know is that the line dancing group's been practicing, so there'll be at least a couple line dances in there for those of us that have worked so hard to turn around and not run into each other at the same time. Makes the other dances seem really easy. So do come. You'll have a great time, and it'll be a lot of fun. We are looking for volunteers, a couple of volunteers, to working once a month or once every couple of months to help take our food donations to the 2 shelters that we support. If you are interested, talk to Jerry. Jerry, raise your hand. I thought it was him. The other Jerry. Yeah. You know, it's Jerry and Jerry. It's very confusing, right? For some of us. But for them, they know which one is which. Talk to one of the Jerrys. If you are interested in possibly throwing the stuff in the back of your car and delivering it to the people who would benefit from it the most. We'll get that team going. And what else do we have? Am I missing anything from anybody? Okay, so our book study, The 4 Pivots, is an in-person recap of the first several chapters that we read. If you've been reading the book and want to talk about it, and if you've missed a couple classes and you still want to talk about it, join Reverend Mary. Will you be in the chapel or in here? In the chapel, okay. So this is the in-person meeting which we're doing along the way of this book study, which is mostly on Zoom. So again, talk to Reverend Mary. She's got the details, and it's a great book. It's a fabulous book about small changes making a big difference in the way you communicate and show up in the world. So, yes, ma'am. It's called The 4 Pivots. The poor pivots. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we still have some in the bookstore. Susie. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And we do have the books in the bookstore. All right. Thank you, Susie. All right, I think we have covered it all. Let's say we stand up, move to the aisles, and sing a little Eddie Watkins.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
written, can't read my mind. I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Yeah. Oh, oh. I break tradition. Sometimes my tries are outside the line.